Good morning. Are we ready? All right. Alexa, pause. Okay. We're gonna be doing a little bit of what we didn't do yesterday from the timing with the game. So I'm gonna bring Dylan up in a couple minutes to talk about the second half of the push. Couple of housekeeping items first. I'll go through this. If you guys want to go to your grid, okay, you've got uh your 5 days, and then your three, you know what it is. Okay. So you should be marking, we had day one was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You should be marking your day five. Okay. Should be marking day five. Good morning. So you might be looking at it right now and say, oh my gosh, I only had one good day last week, or today's still this, current week, right? You might be looking and go, I mean, a couple good ones, or I had mostly low ones. The likelihood is that most of you had a lot of low ones last week. Maybe you got like one or two average or great ones, just depending on where you're at for the week. But go ahead and in your grid mark what day five was for you. And then tell me what you noticed.
I have a lot of great days left.
That's probably the response most of you are gonna have. So let me ask you this. As you do this, what can you do today to control your day? Right? What are some things that you can do to control your day? Yeah, number of calls, right?
Putting in the time, not getting the rewards.
Sure. Yeah, effort, phones, stop bys, sticky notes, alley oops. Yeah.
Sure, like
Sure. Show up to your demos. If someone cancels or reschedules, like how do you react to it? Right. Yeah, you could go to the neighbor's house. You could start phoning, right? Yeah, sticky note. A lot of good ideas, right? But you want to feel like you're busy on the times that you want to be busy, right? So take a look at where you're at. Again, we did do Saturday. We had a pretty decent Saturday relative to on the sales report. JJ had a 2K day. Uh, Soli was on the board. Aiden 600 something. And there's a handful of others of you. Jolie's stats are on some sheet I'm not have pulled up right now, but I know she had a decent day. So,
A
um,
terrible day.
okay, sounds good. I'm gonna mute you. Um, and then you've got recommendations on Saturday. You've got demos today, tomorrow, the next day. So what do you want to have here? Like these first 3 days in an ideal situation are the ones that are the most filled, right? You've got Monday filled up. Today is the last day of the week, right? So regardless of where you're at, you could have a grand day today. Like all of you should realistically have 5+ demos today if you did phoning effectively yesterday because your goal should have been to book up Monday first and then look at Tuesday and then look at Wednesday and then look at, Thursday, so on and so forth, right? So here's where we're at today. Jacob, you got one more same day to fill. Maybe let's see, JJ, nice 6 for 6, Sully 6 for 6. Says 8 and 8 for 8. I love to see that. That's gonna be a monster day for you to finish the week strong. I don't even, is this you, Carlos? Okay, so Carlos, 2 for 4. Gavin, 2 for 4. So you guys got some spots to fill. I like 4 for 5, 5 for 5, 6 for 6, 8 for 8 again. Uh, 2 for 5, so spots to fill, right? You guys can kind of see it. We got big goals for Rex today. I don't know if we threw up Facebook posts on this one, but That's something if you have been getting Facebook posts up, make sure you're not just having them post it and then just nothing happens, right? Like a lot of it has to do with like the action steps that you take after the Facebook post goes up, right? So are you doing the nudges? Are you commenting? Are you liking the messages? Are you reaching out for their phone number? Like all of those little things should create demos. They should also create sales for you, right? Also, keep in mind, as you're doing more demos, make sure every demo that's pushed that you're doing, you're asking them at the end, hey, is it okay on the last day of the push if I'm really close to my goal, if I reach out to you to see if you want to add something to your collection? So make sure you're doing that at the end of every single demo. I would be doing that like right before recommendations, regardless of if they bought an ultimate set or a trimmer or nothing, right? Because those phone orders the last day can stack up to 1,000, 2, 3, 5,000 plus, like on the last night. Okay. The more demos that you do, the more likely that that's going to be a higher number for you. And then knowing where you're at right now, um, and as a I'll focus this on. Knowing where you're at right now, why don't you jot down how are you going to be a +8 today? Seriously? So what do you need to do to be a +8 today? You already know where you're at with your demos, right? So if you have 8 demos, well, if I'm Aiden, I'm like, hey, I'm already a +8. Now, is Aiden going to complete 8 out of 8? I hope so. But if you don't, right, you know, hey, I just need to book 2 more or whatever the ratio is, right? Sounds good. That's gone. If you're at 4, yeah, you could double book too. If you're at 4 demos, right, that means you need to book a minimum of 4 demos today, right? And a +8 should help you feel healthy. But if you're starting the week with 1 demo every day, for example, right, then a +8 really isn't going to do that much for you. If you book 7 demos today, that's a good feeling. Some of you had a better phone jam yesterday than you did last week. Some of you had a worse, whatever you want to call it, phone jam than you had last week. And what you have to plan on is like just trusting the process and trusting the numbers. You also have to look and go, all right, if I had a better one, why did I have a better phone jam yesterday? Well, with doing this rhetorically, if you had a better phone jam yesterday, the reason is you probably had a lot of recommendations, right? I was talking to a couple of you about this. It's like if you started the phone jam, the first mother of all phone jams with 200, and let's say you did 10 demos or 15 demos so far for the push, and you added another 100 people, well, how would your list be smaller? 200 minus 15 would be 185. If you add 100, you'd be at 285. So, like, logically, you would have had way more names to call yesterday than you would have otherwise. Now, if you didn't do many demos last week, then you probably felt like you're in the same spot as you were like the week before, right? Or um, if you felt kind of in the middle, I mean, that's possible too. Then it just comes down to like, what were your calls? So I'll share my screen here too. Um, maybe. There we go. So calls wise, and I believe this is all updated. Um, but did I do the minimum of like did I hit the 200 plus calls, right? So Carlos, you hit 180. Preston, that's crazy if that's actually true. 199. Uh, Gavin, nice job yesterday. You had 248 calls. It was way better than the week before for you, which was 151. So like massive improvement, right? I'd have to imagine that has to do with some of your leads, that you had more leads, more fresh leads, right? Let me also remind you, like you guys can call someone as many times as you want. So just because you cycled through them with like a week ago at the all day phone jam or like maybe once throughout the week doesn't mean that they're not a good lead. It might mean that you need to do something different to like get a hold of them if you've called them 5 times. But keep that in mind. Ethan, nice job yesterday. Again, I'm not going to go back and forth on everyone, but I feel like that's a better phone jam for you yesterday than it was the first week. And you almost hit 200 calls. So great job. Solely, this was a little lower of one for you. It is a little tougher too when you're completely filled with your schedule. I will say that, and I think that probably had a little bit to do with your phoning yesterday. It's the same situation Jolie has been in the past, is when you go into an all-day phone day and you have a lot of demos already lined up. You tend to be a little bit more picky. I could be wrong. Maybe you're like, I was lazy. I don't know. But you got what'd you say?
I was lacking on some rice because I recently got good at them, so I was not doing well on the first half of the week.
Yeah. And you can't throw all your chips in one basket, right? Or eggs in one basket, chips in one bag.
Egg.
Like if you didn't have a good week with Rex, then recognize that moving forward, like on Thursday or Friday, hey, I gotta redo more of my names list. So what are some things I learned leading up to the push that I need to do now? Right. And some of you probably need to look at your list right now and go like, maybe I need to do some of those things. Did I ever reach out to past customers to get 30 names or 50 names or 75 names from someone? Can I do that today? Right. Do I need to get in some three-way text messages with some family members or people that are close with me that can help me out? 8 a nice job, 17 demos. And then Jacob, this was definitely your best phone day too. 247 calls. You led, actually, sorry, Gavin. Is that accurate? That's crazy. Gavin beat you by one phone call yesterday, according to the statistics. You beat him by one phone call. Oh, okay.
But we say the same number.
All right. Anywho, hopefully that gives you some perspective. So did you write down what do you need to do to win the day today? And then I'm gonna bring up Dylan here, and Dylan's gonna talk about why the second week is always gonna be bigger. And before Dylan comes up here, let me ask you, why do you think the second week will be bigger than the first week? We're not in the second week yet, right? But we're leading into it. Why would it make sense the second week is bigger than the first week? Yeah, you're probably rusty. You're getting used to it. Most of you didn't have huge weeks the 2 weeks leading up to it, regardless of like how much we may have stressed to do that. Meaning like you didn't do a lot of demos is my point, right? Um, yeah, you're getting more what else? More confident. Have you ever been this confident with recommendations before? For most of you, the answer is probably no chance, right? But because you also never used most of you didn't use the app much before the push, right? So you've got that. More than that, too, look at all the success you have around you, regardless of how you feel, right? You're either feeling like the 10% that's like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting beat up so far the first week. That's great. There's also 10% of you that are like, this is crazy. Look, I'm a monster paycheck. Speaking of paychecks, these, Dylan, can you grab those? I set them somewhere. I found the stash of the comma stickers if anyone wants one that has had a comma paycheck. Um, yeah, I like it. Comma Club. Who wants one? Who's got a comma? You're in a comma paycheck? This is gonna work very well. They're not heavy enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of sick.
I was way out for it. I'm getting mine. My hands feet. Hey, Margaret, I got it. Whoa. Whoa. Same manager going to get both of them.
And then some of you are gonna get your first comma paychecks during the push if you haven't yet. Okay, Jolie. All right. So here's where we're at for the week. I just want to do a little recognition before I hand things over to Dylan, and I want to share the start of Lindley's push as well. Okay, so leaders, I'm going to do it kind of the opposite of how I normally do it. So JJ, you're in the lead at 46.15 for Joko. We don't need to do claps right now. Parker, again, kind of funny, but you're $50 behind JJ or whatever at 45.56. Now, notice the number of orders. That's the thing I want you to pay attention to, right? 10 orders, 7 orders. Then you've got Preston, 37.59, 5 orders. Sully, 35.29, 10 orders, right? The only difference between you two is just he's had a big set sale and that's coming, right? Sam, who's was in town for 3 days, 28.55. Aiden, 23.85. And you had a really tough start to the push with reschedules and cancels and stuff like that. And good to see you bouncing back and shit. You might finish number one for the week. You have 8 demos today. That's work ethic. Jacob, awesome. 2K, 22.35, 5 orders so far. New trainee. You guys know Sarah now. Jaden's 8.56, 4 orders, just a lot of small orders so far. Um, but and you guys can see the rest, right? Couple orders here, couple orders there. You just want to look at the number of orders. Like that's my health barometer, if you will. We've had 5 sales days so far. So if you have 5 orders or less, that means you're averaging less than 1 order per day of the push. If you have 10 orders, right, which is where the leader is at, it means you're averaging 2 orders per day during the push, which doesn't sound like a lot, right? But if you piece that out, right, 2 orders per day over 15 sales days, you'd have 30 orders. Most of you will have a 10 to 15 plus $1,000 push with 30 orders, right? So really just like someone was saying, it really pays to kind of be consistent. And I'll also throw out Jolie is actually beating all of you. I'll give you an unmute for that one.
Heck yeah.
Jolie's at 52.94, also 10 orders, right? So that that makes sense. She does take the phone jam seriously, yeah. All right. Before I turn it to Dylan, I want to go through, and this is my favorite week of the Alliance for my meetings because I've got so much jam-packed content. I step up the video game this week, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So here's Lindley's push. Are you guys ready for this?
Tell me more.
This is pulled up. There we go. All right, you ready?
Yeah. Tell me more, Nate.
I will when everyone's ready. Okay, great. All right, so you guys have probably, well, Lindley's the one that did the recommendations call that you would have watched on Saturday. So she's had multiple big pushes. She sold over 200 grand in college, going to a private university, and now she's a district manager out in what's her office called? Chicago area somewhere. Here's her SC2 push, her most recent one. Tuesday, 6 demos, 1 postponed, sold on 1, 82 CPO. So she went 1 for 5 for $82 the first day of the push. How's she feeling? Low day number 1, right? The next day, 6 demos, 3 rescheduled, 1 for 3, 39 CPO. How's she feeling? Low day. Next day, I'll just back it up with 7 demos. Okay. 2 reschedule, completes 5, 2 for 5, 368 CPO. This is also someone at this point that sold probably $150,000 worth of Cutco and ran a branch office. Okay. Day 4, 9 demo schedule. I'll just double down even more. 4 reschedule, 2 for 5. Has her first grand day. So now she's sitting at what, $1,600 for the week, 4 days in. After having 16, 22, what is that, 22, 28 demos scheduled for $1,700. Saturday, 5 demos scheduled, 2 reschedule, 1 for 2, $187. So she's sitting at about $1,800 at this point in the push. Sunday, I don't know why she has demos. Maybe this is off by a day, but it says this day she had 5 scheduled, 2 postponed, sold on 3, $1,200. And then Monday, so that's this day, scheduled 7, 2 rescheduled, completed 5, went 4 for 5, 32.83 CPO. And so she finishes the week at a $7,300 week. Is that right? Something like that. 6,300? 6,300? Did that week look sexy the whole time? Not at all. It was like couple days like felt okay, and then like one decent one, right? But what do you notice about her week? She had 5 to 9 demos scheduled every day going into the day. I mean, that's the difference, right? This turned out to be we'll go through more of it later, but it doesn't say the total. Sick. Okay. But that was our first week. So speaking of first weeks and going into the second week, I'm going to turn things over to Dylan. Do you just want me to pull it up on mine? You have a different slides in these.
Is it already on there, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then there you go.
Okay. All right, let's bring up our pilot sales manager. Okay, why the second week is always bigger. I got an awesome video after this too. But here we go. We already talked a little bit about these, but I'm going to show you all some more examples on past reps and even Nate's past pushes. And then I'll give you a few reasons why the second week's always a little bit bigger. For starters, here was Nate's push in 2015. It was a 3-week push over like the winter break, and first week $0. Second week 1,200. Third week was 3,300. So it was about a $4,600 push. I'll show you the breakdown here in a second, but this 4,600 was in 2 days, in the last 2 days of the push, basically. So here's Nate's past pushes. So SC2, you guys have heard this story probably, but he had a 5K first week, $1,500 second week, and that's when he got tonsillitis and could barely talk. Okay, and then he came back his last 2 days. He did the same thing he did in his first entire week, but just in his last 2 days, and sold $5,400. Right, so that was a $12,500 push, whatever. The year after that for Cabo, $1,700 first week, $4,200 second week for that push. When he was a AM out in St. Louis the year after that, $3,600 first week. Okay. 731 second week, like 2 orders. Okay. I'm assuming you were doing like office stuff that week, it looks like, right? Yeah. And then 6K his last 3 days off of 15 orders. All right. And that was a 10K push. January, the year after that for Jamaica, $0 or $0 his first week, right? And then that was the $4,600 his last 2 days. And then a couple years after that for Cancun, 0 CPO first 8 days while he was running training for the headquarters. And last 6 days he sold $1,100. What? 11,000, sorry, not 1,100. Okay. So you get the point, right? But here's a few more. Erin, she sold 3K her first week, 9.5 thousand second week. Allison, 2K first week, 9K second week. Ben, I'm not going to go over all of these, but 9K his first week, 19K his second week. Right. Jamal Walker, 6K first week, and then 4K his last day to hit 10K in the push. Okay. Yeah, I do. Jamal Walker.
6K the first 16 days.
Was this
4K
yeah.
last day.
David, $2,800 for the first week, it looks like, and then $7,300 the second week. Was gonna pay 1,000 if he didn't hit 10K. It's crazy. And he barely squeaked over it. Morgan Reynolds, $2,500 first week, $7,600 second week, right? Allison, 2K, then almost a 10K second week. Steve, 3K first day, and then a $3,500 first week. So he only sold $500 the rest of that week, and then had a 7K second week. So he like doubled his first week. Talia, $1,200, $4,500 second week. That was her first comma paycheck. Nate, $3,500 last day to hit 10K. Okay. $2,500 last day from Shane to hit 10K. Zach, $2,500 first week, and then a 7K second week. And then Nabil, $5,500 on the last day to hit 12.5K. Okay. And then we got a few more, but
Tell me more.
Noelle Moores went 7K on her last day to hit 30K. There you go. Zach, 8K, and then 16K
$11,000 weekend for a 23K total push. So just over the weekend, right? And then Taylor, 7 days, sold $14,000. Rob, $3,900 last day. 3,100 of that was after 8 p.m. on the last day. Brian, $14,000, and then $21,000 the second week. Shannon, on her last demo, I'm assuming this means like a complete set, like an ultimate set on the last demo to hit 20K for the push. Garrett Lynch, 0 CPO on the second Sunday, right? And then he had a 5K Monday right after that, which would be like today. And then there's so many more, like this Michael guy, $9,300 last week and closed on, I'm assuming that's another ulti, right? $3,900 order. Nicole sold $14,000 her second week. Okay, $4,500 magical Monday. Okay, so you guys get the point. Ryan completed over 30 appointments in week one, right? Sold only $3,800, then flipped his car. So he was out for 5 days during the push, and then he came back and sold in his second week $16,800. And then he finished over a 20K push. Okay. Flipped his car in the middle of the push. Dominic, he was an AM, sold $3,500 his first 13 days of the push. He was ready to quit, but he kept going and completed over 6 appointments on Miracle Monday till 1 a.m. He sold $7,200 to finish over 10K for the push, which is crazy, right? Becca, first week, $2,400. Her second week, sold $4,700. Miracle Monday was about $2,100 of that, her second week. And then she went in with 6 booked. On her first appointment at 8 a.m., she sold a homie with trays, 2 galleys, and a few more small orders. Okay. So you see all these numbers, and all these people are having a much bigger second week than they did the first week. Some of these people, they had a bigger last day than they did the entire push up to that point. Okay, and here's why. Number one is you're a world better at selling Cutco. So just what Nate just talked about, like all of you, you're more confident than you've ever been in terms of closing, your habits, your processes, right? Your communication. You're just so much better at the job after this much experience. You have new recommendations, right? All of you have hopefully like at least 100 plus new recommendations at this point, depending on how many demos you did last week, right? Think about how many recommendations you'll get this week as well. You have so much more momentum. All of you are going into the second week already having a few orders for the push, and you didn't have that last week probably moving into the first week in the push. So you guys have momentum now. Some of you have a comma paycheck literally going into the second week of the push. You're stronger more than ever, right? Mentally, physically, probably, emotionally. You have more confidence again than ever. You're going to close bigger, right? With all these things at the top, you're going to close bigger. Your average order is probably going to be higher. Your closing percentage is also going to be higher, right? You have more belief, you have heart. Everything's just coming together for all of you, right? And it's like what I talked about on one of my messages. It's like you're pushing the boulder kind of up the hill, and you're just like you're almost over the hill, and then now it's gonna like steady out, and you're about to explode. So second week's always bigger, and then your third week on top of that. So when you feel like quitting, think about why you started. So think about like always go back to your whys and what you're doing this for, and you're always gonna think yourself. So I do have to wrap us up with this awesome video. It's like 4 minutes. It is the best buzzer beaters ever. Kind of like second week buzzer beaters. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and then we're gonna hit the phones, and we'll dive in.
If you're late, start doing your push-ups wall sits right now.
Wins the series.
I know the music. Ugh. Acid. You gotta last the rest of the video. This music's killing.
You should switch it up.
1 more minute.
Push up.
Bang. All right.
Videos keep getting better every day.
Yes, they do. CEO mode. Let's watch it tomorrow. All right, to the phones.
Phones, baby.
Find your spots.
Yes, we do.
Right after.
Schedule.
Yeah, it was.
What was the schedule?
Alexa, play.
No. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but it's every Monday.